Good morning, friends. Welcome back to Astrology Today and Tarot. My name is Mel Rose. This is the Tarot portion and the second half of my daily astrology vlog, which you can check out on my other channel, Astrology Today with Mel Rose. Here I will discuss the tarot card that sits on the side of the page, then I'll do a quick review of the day's aspects before I play another card that may give us something more to think about. So let's get into it. The card that currently sits on the side of the page has changed, okay? So it is the Six of Wands at this time. Six of Wands astrologically represents the second 10 days or the second decan of the sun's transit in the land of Leo. Leo is a fire sign, and wands are fire in the tarot. And fire element symbolism has to do with spark, drive, enthusiasm, somewhat inspiration, whatever it is that fires you up in a way that makes you want to take action in the world. And the Six of Wands here sort of represents a moment where we've made an achievement, okay? So this person is well supported, they're on a horse, they're riding into the future, and they have this laurel wreath attached to their wand, and then you have all these people sort of around them also holding up wands, okay? And this is a celebration of this person's achievement. Think of it almost like a parade, okay? And this is the person, they've got the laurel wreath on their head and on their wand. They're the hero of the day. They have gone out and done the good thing, and everybody is celebrating them for it. And I always think of this one, you know, it's interesting, there's even like a V right there in the card. I always think of this one as a reminder to celebrate your victories. Okay, so, you know, we make thousands of choices every day. We often just keep pushing forward, regardless of, of what we think should be happening. We're just trying to, sort of get through our days, or, make the minimum things happen, the minimum of things happen. So, when we set out to do something big for ourselves, or not all that big for ourselves, when we set out to do something and we take care of business and we get it done correctly, and it's to our benefit, and it's to the benefit of the people around us, we have to stop and give ourselves a little pat on the back, right? We have to claim that victory and say, yes, I was brave today, or I adulted today, or I took care of that business I didn't really want to take care of today, or took care of business I did want to take care of, and I'm so glad it's finally done. Celebrate the victories, okay? Because this is still wands. This is still about passionate pursuit of your goals, okay? And anybody who has a fiery disposition is going to be inclined all the time to sort of be in passionate pursuit of some goal, or if they don't have a goal, they tend to get pretty restless and go looking for one, right? So, be in passionate pursuit of your goals. Know what it is that you are after, and don't get sidetracked like the Five of Wands in sort of arguments and infighting with people who share your passion, okay? Move forward and get the job done and celebrate. And understand that the celebration doesn't go on forever, okay? We have to celebrate so that we can move on. We celebrate it, we acknowledge it. Everybody raises a toast, raises a wand, and says, yay, you did it. And this is so that we can go ahead and keep moving forward with our goals and aspirations. And with all of that said, I'm going to remind myself, I'm going to shuffle my cards, and I'm going to remind myself and the cards that the sun is in Leo, and so is Mercury. So first of all, it's midsummer as of today. This is the midpoint celebration between the summer solstice and the autumnal equinox. Okay, so summer solstice was the longest day of the year. We kicked off the sign of Cancer, sun in Cancer, with the summer solstice. And in another 6 weeks, we're going to be at the autumnal equinox. So we're right here in the middle. And this is where we kind of begin the long, hot what we call the lazy days at the end of summer. But I don't know how lazy they are. This is really a traditional time for the first of our 3 harvests. So potatoes and onions are ready to come up. We're eating a lot of summer squash, maybe pickling some cucumbers, processing and preserving, and also just eating a lot of fresh food at this time. Also, in some traditions, this is a time when we celebrate hand fasting. It's that sort of temporary commitment that we make that lasts a year and a day until the next midsummer. The next year's midsummer gives us an opportunity to sort of renegotiate our terms. The sun is in Leo, and the sun does dominate our lives at this time of year, and it even rules the sign that it's currently transiting, Leo. The sun's light is an intense and potentially hazardous blessing in our lives, okay? We require a lot of it in order to enjoy the fruits of the current and upcoming harvest, but the sun doesn't have the power to shine less than it does, okay? As much as we require the sun's light so that we can eat and get things done in our lives, so that we can, the water is not all ice all the time. As much as we need the sun, we need a balance to it, okay? So the seasons are changing. Right now, the sun continues to dominate our days, but 6 weeks from now, the days will equal the nights. And another 6 weeks after that, 12 weeks from now, we'll be in the heart of autumn. Night sky will be the longest part of every day. So, Mercury is also in Leo, and as we are in the final celebration of summer, looking back on the sun's peak influence during the last 12 weeks, it is appropriate to reminisce, to tell stories, to sort of immortalize the splendor of those days in the sun in grand and dramatic terms. Moon is in Libra. This is a time when we become discerning from the heart. We seek out what's elegant and balanced, and most of all, true to our experience. The plans we make now, because we're in this planning mode of the first of the waxing crescent moon. This is a time when we are setting intentions, and from intentions setting goals, and from goals making plans. So we begin things from the heart and mind, and that's appropriate with cardinal air Libra, because cardinal air likes to begin things from the heart and mind. Fixed fire, cardinal air, friends. Air feeds fire, so be aware that fire may gust up, okay? Flames, passions, determinations, enthusiasms may gust up as Libra tends to start things that Leo wants to see through. And on the moon side of the page today, we have one aspect moon in opposition to Jupiter. And this is always good company time. We feel good, we feel generous and expansive. That opposition brings in the potential for us to be a little overbearing, to give our attention a little too freely. Okay, so be cool, Fonzies, but also be in good company if that's what you like. And we have so much going on. Well, on the sun side of the page today, Venus goes sextile to Uranus, and then sextile to Mars. Okay, so we're looking at new and appealing ways to be getting the things that we need and desire. Venus is about romance and finance, so this is about attention and affection, but it's also about gifts and compensation. Venus goes sextile to Mars later on. Romance and sexuality really working together at this time. So and really good fortune with sun sextile to moon right now too, or actually really good fortune with the sun trine to Jupiter. So we have a lot of good things going on as far as our heart goes, as far as our romance and potentially our finances go. We're open to new ideas for getting what it is we need. We're open to sharing, and our intimate connections especially can be really benefited right now. This is a really good time for romance and sex to be working together to help us create stronger bonds. Mercury has a lot to say to us right now too, though. Mercury is quincunx to Pluto in opposition to Saturn, quincunx to Neptune. And this is all about how our words have power and we need to use them wisely, okay? Telling the truth isn't always enough. We have to remember, am I being brutally honest? Am I being compassionately honest? Am I being honest and trifling at the same time, okay? Telling the truth or receiving a truth can really provoke a strong reaction. So we want to stay grounded in case of truths that are coming in that we may not respond well to. And we also want to stay grounded and pay attention to the fact that the words we use are going to have power, and we want to use them wisely. We want to use them kindly and compassionately. And, we just feel somehow a little bit restricted or repressed from being able to express ourselves at this time. And perhaps that is a good thing, because we have to be careful about the language we use. But, Sun is trying to Jupiter. This is very good fortune. Just go out and put your best foot forward, especially at this time in terms of things that you would like to receive. Now, Venus has this one square with Chiron, which is asking, how am I getting in the way of my ability to get what I want? Chiron is retrograde right now, so we are healing our own wounds of self-expression at this time. We've put up defenses over the years in response to hurtful or embarrassing experiences we had when we tried to express ourselves honestly. And, now some of those wounds are probably actually pretty well healed. And so we have to go back and take a look at what defenses we have put up that we can now let down, because there's nothing really there to guard anymore. And of course, we have a lot of retrograde on the page that is only going to keep expanding. Okay, Neptune's retrograde is about realizing the fantasy, or understanding the difference between our dream life and our real life. And it's really helpful for us to know that, because it's only with 2 feet in the real world that we can actually begin to create the life of our dreams. Pluto is taking us through changes. Please take it easy on yourself. You are doing more on the inside than you realize you are doing. Saturn wants us to recommit to civic support, whatever it is that we, think we should be doing, or would like to be able to say that we are doing, to turn up for our community in whatever way that is important to you. You're going to know whether you're showing up the way you'd like to say you do. And since you're the judge of that, then you get to say what it is that you're going to recommit to. And then, while Pluto's taking us through these changes, Jupiter is showing us where we can expand, where I can personally act on myself in my own life to create more opportunity and more good fortune for myself. So, and then the other thing I want to touch on at this time is that Uranus is conjunct to North Node and Mars at the same time. Okay, so, and this is all happening in the land of Taurus. So it's about those gifts we like to receive, that compensation, and also just the steady, reliable resources, material resources that we rely on to feel supported. Okay, so pursue the materials you need in less conventional ways at this time, because Uranus has been in Taurus, sort of shaking up our access to the resources we like. And North Node is a trajectory. It says this is what we're going after at this time. So we're going after this sort of shifting resources thing. And then Mars comes in and says, I'm willing to do something unconventional. I'm willing to take actions that are out of our regular, our normal course of action, if it means getting the materials, getting the resources in line that I need to get. So, with all of that said, I'm going to turn this card over. Oh, we have the Tower, friends. If you need any indication that we're going through some changes. Okay, so the Tower is usually not a great news card. It speaks of a calamity or a potential for calamity, a disaster, something that sort of ends life as you know it. But understand, it doesn't mean that you won't survive that. It just means that something big is coming to an end, and it's probably going to come to an end in a really momentous way that everybody notices. And then we're going to have to redirect ourselves when it's over. If we thought that our lives, think of the Tower as the thing that you've been involved in, the thing that you've been engaged in and trying to build. Okay, in some way, it's possible that it's going to break, that it's going to fall, and so then you're going to have to, take your intentions, take your previous plans, and try to apply them some way to a new life, to a new approach of to living that doesn't involve the structure that you thought you were trying to build. I like to say about the Tower that I see 3 people in the Tower. So you never know when lightning is going to strike and the Tower is going to catch fire, but it's always possible. And that just means lightning strike and the Tower catching fire. that just means to say that stuff happens unexpectedly. And that can be the product of human action, or that can be the product of like a natural disaster, or a combination thereof. Okay, so you see the person who didn't understand that the tower was about to fall and got sort of unceremoniously ejected and is not going to survive. And you see the person who may or may not have understood that the tower was about to fall, but has tried to jump to their safety. And we don't know whether they are to survive. But there's also the person in this picture that is the person viewing this scene. All right. And I always want to tell people to keep their spidey senses about them. You know, when the tower card comes up, look for the potential for calamity or disaster to be happening, and use your sense to move you away, move you enough, you know, to enough of a remove from the situation that, you know, you can maybe watch things go down, but you're not so likely to get ejected or hurt. Okay. Things come to an end. Pluto is in retrograde, bringing about endings and beginnings, really literally to fundamental parts of our human psyche, things that we may not even be aware of, changes we're going through that we're not going to be able to talk about until the story is all completely written. Okay. And this is the final retrograde in Capricorn, so this is really really the time of tests and trials, really the time of endings of institutional things and endings of foundational things, endings of things that we you know, that have been so foundational to who we are and our perception of the world as it is, that we wouldn't even occur to us to think of it as something that could change, right? But those changes are upon us. They're upon us in the outer life, they're upon us in the inner life, they're upon us in our own psyche. Be careful about the conversations. You know, it just comes to my mind to say loose lips sink ships. All right. Don't be the reason the ship got sank. unless that tower really had to come down. All right. I do support a certain amount of whistleblowing. If people aren't behaving correctly, then the truth has to come out, so that, you know, the approach to the institution can change. Okay, and taken together with the Six of Wands, I mean, imagine if you've gone on like this voyage or this adventure and you come back victorious, right? They've put the laurel wreath on your head and they've stuck you up on a horse and you're riding back to the castle. And when you arrive back at the castle, this is what you see. What do you do with your victory then? What does it mean? And, you know, it obviously at that point means something more personal and less perhaps national, or less perhaps consequential to the leadership in a community, although it's probably still important to the people of a community, right? Celebrate your victories, because you know, sort of calamity and disaster strike without warning. And please be aware. You know, it occurs to me that this person has a horse underneath them. So, you know, use your instincts and intuition. Use, you know, that part of your animal nature that tells you when danger is arising, and really pay attention to that and be ready and willing to move in the moment. Okay, you want to beat this. You want to get away at the right time so that you don't wind up getting ejected unceremoniously, and, you know, we don't know whether or not you will survive. Being, you know, the victor in this card says we are the ones who survive. Okay, and being the ones who survive, you know, that probably had something to do with not being in the place where things were going wrong to begin with, not contributing to the stuff that was causing things to go wrong, not contributing to whatever kind of decay or corruption may have influenced the breaking of this institution. And count your victories. And if you get away from something like this, count that as a victory as well. I believe that's all I have to say about it today, friends. Thank you so much for joining me. I truly appreciate your presence here in the morning. My name is Mel Rose, and I'll see you all back here tomorrow for more astrology today and tarot.